Hello, welcome back to my cast. If you're a sub, I'm Ben, and in today's video I will be unboxing one of my favourite watches from Oris. So before we get into it, do a quick wristwatch check. I'm indeed wearing the red Casio. I haven't worn it in a couple of days. It's kind of been sat here while we've been filming, tempting me over to wear it, so we sort of threw it on this morning. Oris are a brand I admire greatly. Founded in 1904, they didn't have the easiest inception, plagued by the early days with a law that halted their technological advances. They powered through, and over 100 years later, in 2017, we got a refresh of the Aquis line. This line is one of my favourite watches ever, and it is indeed one of the watches we're going to be taking a look at today. Oris are similar to Omega in the sense they do love a limited edition. However, where Omega like to focus on space, Oris very much focus on the water. So the conservation of our oceans and bodies of water is something that Oris campaign very heavily for. We will be very much looking at a watch that continues this, is part of the conservation line, and it is the Oris Aquis Date Relief. So we have this lovely outer box in a lovely sort of space grey colour. Inside here we have an inner box which has the watch. The inscription inside the box reads, "This Oris box is made using environmentally friendly materials," which is really lovely to hear. Inside here we have the manual and your warranty card. And then here it is, the box the watch actually is housed in. Have a lovely little red tag which really fits in well with the colour scheme. Nice printed Oris logo at the front. Okay, so here we have the box for the Oris Aquis, and if we lift it up, there we go. It's absolutely superb. It's already running. If we take it out here, it's a really lovely sort of suede inner box. We have the hang tag there as well. Here we have it then. This is the Oris Aquis Date Relief. This is the one with the red rubber strap. Here we have our clear case back then with the famous Oris red rotor. It's the Oris Caliber 733, and that's essentially a modified Sellita SW201. It's not the prettiest movement in the world, but I just love having the clear case back on here. It's not something you normally get with a diver, so it's very, very appreciative. Okay, so the case is 43.5mm across. It is, of course, 316L stainless steel. The lug-to-lug measurement is about 50mm, and the side profile is 13mm. I wear about the same height as an SKX as a Flight Master. I actually think even in the size, despite it being a bigger size, it wears much smaller than it first appeared. So there we go. If we throw it on wrist, we can see that on my 7-inch wrist, it fits absolutely perfectly. The grey dial really invokes the icy freshwater lake that the watch is inspired by. Here we have a lovely date at 6 o'clock window. I'm not usually a date window kind of guy. However, when it's at the 6 o'clock, it almost never looks bad. So being a part of the Aquis line, it is of course water resistant up to 300 meters, helped by the screw down crown and screw down case back. You really get a sense of this being a no-nonsense dive watch, especially on this beautiful red rubber strap. There is also a grey rubber strap as well as a grey suede and a metal bracelet version as well. The prices vary a little bit from strap to strap. However, I think that you can only really go one way with this watch, and that's for the red. The Aquis does feature a lovely 120 click bezel, which is nice and secure and nice and satisfying. I do find it a welcome change from just having a ceramic bezel that's almost becoming a bit of a cliche now. It does have a sort of a Yachtmaster sort of feel to it. However, if you look back into the Oris catalogue into the 90s, you'll be able to see that they did use the relief bezels. So it's more of a callback to those watches than the Yachtmaster. So some positives and negatives of the watch. You can see I have popped it straight on the wrist. I just couldn't help myself. One of the big things that I love about this watch is the shape of the case. It also means that the 43.5mm diameter just absolutely disappears, and it fits absolutely perfectly. So I really love the dial on this watch. I'm not normally a huge fan of grey or sunburst dials, but I think in this context it actually works really well. It really does invoke the icy lake inspirations behind the watch. Another feature I really love is having the dive extension on the rubber strap. It's very handy, especially if you don't want to cut the rubber down like myself. A whole host of adjustments, which means that you'll be able to get a good fit no matter what. So I never used to be a fan of rubber straps, and that very much changed with the Christopher Ward we unboxed the other day. And I have to say, this rubber strap is even nicer. It's so supple and it's so soft. You could just wear it for hours. I would definitely recommend the rubber over the bracelet. I think it really adds to it. I think on this one, you have to go with the red rubber. I think the grey and the suede sort of strap really just get lost. I think the red rubber also highlights the seconds hand absolutely beautifully. I'm sure fellow Oris owners will agree. The rubber straps have an incredibly strong scent of vanilla, which is absolutely divine. So a few negatives then. As much as I love how much customization there is, I do think it is a bit of a shame for a smaller wrist that you will need to cut this rubber strap down. That being said, I do think the trade-off for how sleek and good this rubber strap looks when it's on the wrist is definitely worth it. Another slight downside, which I very much knew going into buying this, is obviously the lugs being a very particular shape. It does mean that you're not going to really be able to swap the straps out unless you either have other Orises or you pay the extra 200 euros to get a new strap for one. However, I obviously knew this going into the watch, and it is not something I'm particularly worried about. So my final gripe about the watch, again, is very nitpicky, as all of these comments are, and it's actually how the crown almost looks like it's not quite screwed in all the way. Even when it is screwed in and firm and secure, it just sort of gets my mind going. Okay, so that about wraps up our review of the Oris Aquis Date Relief. Thank you so much for watching. If you did enjoy the video, please like, comment and subscribe, and we will see you in the next video. Ciao.